What's going on, fam? Man, this is AGZ coming to you. Oh, my bad, LGZ. I always forget that. Coming to you live, man, from the friendly confines here in Indianapolis, Indiana, man. And today, I haven't dropped a conspiracy brother in a while, and this one is kind of a different approach to conspiracy. It's more so about the feminization of men and what is going on, and my thoughts on like what's the end game in this, So and I kind of want to explore how that affects dating today, especially with the whole Me Too movement and sexual harassment and things of that nature, and just kind of give as I adjust my mic a little bit, come a little closer to me, and kind of give my opinion on what I feel about just where all this is going, the feminist movement, the emasculating of men in the society, and just where it stands. So, like I say, you can also catch me on the Heavy Hitters Radio Show tomorrow. We're gonna go ahead and tape live. We have some very special guests that will be there tomorrow, and it should make for a very interesting conversation. But dating today. As I smoke my cigar, I'm actually hitting this is a Cuba Libre. It's actually a pretty decent cigar, man. Kind of got like a little punch to it, a little heavy, but I like it. So, basically, I want to talk about just dating today and how does it affect men and women, and where do we go from here? Excuse me. So the first thing is courtship. Courtship is dead, people. Like it's dead. Like the way that we once dated when I was in high school, college, those techniques don't work anymore. It's pretty much over for that. And the reason being is because of technology. Now, you can ask yourself, well, how does technology play a role in dating outside of online dating? Well, it's because of technology, because we are used to everything being this microwave, ask Siri, ask Google, whatever, and we get the answer right away, or we get what we want right away. We are into fast, instant. And because we want fast and instant, we now take our dating and we look at relationships. We look at that interaction, that human interaction, the same way. We look at dating the same way, and it don't work that way because that's human interaction. So our patience is not the same anymore as it was 10, 20 years ago. So, and the reason being is men and women. Like, this is not necessarily gender specific, even though a lot of women will tell you that men, are quick to give up, but women are just as quick to give up too nowadays. And the reason being is when I grew up, I'm from Gary. When I grew up, the only people I could talk to were A, you lived in my neighborhood, B, you went to school with me somewhere, so I dated people at my school who I found attractive or over time found attractive, or C, if you had a cousin, relative, or friend that went to another school and you happen to hang out in their neighborhood and then you meet that person. Like, though, or the mall. Excuse me, man, Scarborough. Or you went to the mall and you met somebody at your local mall. But pretty much your dating circle was pretty much within a 10 to 15 mile radius is where your dating pool will come from if you just so happen to run into those people at the store or whatever. And a lot of times it was up to the guy to approach the woman, and spark up a conversation, get her number, write it on a napkin, write it on your hand. Or back then we only had 7 digits to remember, really 4, because it was either 938 or 939. I think 939 came on like when I was like later on. So, but you didn't have to put in the 219. It was only 219. So really 938 or 939 was like our area up there. So you only have to memorize the last 4 digits in a lot of cases. But that was your dating pool, and you had a lot of numbers in your mind and things like that. Or if you was Like at the college, I think we had like beepers, and then I think we had like the Nokia cell phones, but that's a little further along. But that was your dating pool. So in your dating pool, those were your options that you went with. Now let's fast forward to today. Today, that is not the case. Like literally, with these dating apps, as far as like Tinder, Match, eHarmony, Plenty of Fish, you name it. There's probably something that I'm not even naming. Facebook, whatever. Like you literally have access to tens and thousands of people that's really in your circle that you have direct contact with, whether it's an instant message, a DM, whether it's whatever, you have direct contact with these people. So your dating pool is a lot bigger. And if you're an attractive man or woman, your dating pool is even larger because now you got more people to deal with. So to break it all down, a lot of times our patience, because we want microwave, everything is so microwave. So we don't have the patience because, again, if you date one person and that one person does one thing that you don't like, you got access to literally hundreds of thousands of other potential candidates that you feel that might be able to fit your need better than this one person. So because of that, your patience become thin. And that's a recipe for disaster. So what happens is you find a bunch of people consistently bouncing from relationship to relationship because they have no patience. So then days become weeks, weeks become months, months become years, years become 5 years, 5 years become 10 years, and you still can't find yourself a stable relationship. And you ask yourself, why? Like, why am I not having a stable relationship? Well, the reason being is you're dating people, but you're constantly looking for something better than what you have. We constantly want more. We constantly want what we perceive to be better. Not necessarily that they are better. It's just the fact that we want better, and we feel that we deserve better, and we continue to search, even though even though we may have someone in our own backyard that will treat us a certain way. We constantly want more. So, from a man's standpoint, men are sexual creatures. Newsflash. So we'll go out, we'll meet a woman, we'll go out with her, and let's say we on like date number 2. If we ain't got no action, then automatically some of us are turned off. We literally won't give that woman a chance to better herself because she may have morals, or she may have this, certain rule or certain platform that she only wants to date. She only wants to have sex at this point in her life. We want to have sex at this point in our life. And so we find ourselves in this interesting conundrum. And a lot of times as men, we're not patient enough. So what do? We go out and we mess around with other chicks. And some guys may keep this chick on the hook until she's ready or whatever. But by then, you done pretty much ruined the relationship because you have went out and you got something else or whatever. So that part of it becomes tainted. Now, let's look at the same step in the process of dating, and let's take women, for instance, okay? So now you got a woman, right? And she's dating a man or whatever, and she wants, and most women want, instant relationship. They want, hey, we go out on 3 days, I think you're the one, I want you to be committed to me, right? They want commitment. Women want commitment. So let's say this man, like, nah, man, let's get to know each other, let's take our time. He don't have no ill intentions. Like, he really want to take his time and get to know you, but he's not moving fast enough, right? So what do? You go online because, again, you got instant access to all these different people, and you go out and you find a guy that will give you instant relationship. You go out on 2 days and we go together, or 2 days and he moving in or you moving in or whatever the case may be, and we think that's a recipe to sustain, and it's not. It's not a good recipe because, again, humans evolve, humans grow. So you have to build time to grow with that person. And I think, honestly, the first 6 months of a relationship don't even count. That goes towards shit. That don't mean nothing. First 6 months means absolutely nothing. And that's being real talk. You know what I mean? Because the first 6 months, like, you haven't even had your first argument. in the first 6 months. You haven't had your first disagreement. You haven't had your first true test to see can you withstand the level of what you're going on. You still riding that high of enjoying her or enjoying him. You still riding that high, so it's almost fictional. That part of the relationship don't even count. What counts is when you, like, after 6 months or after a year, when you really dug in and now you're starting to grow with this person and you see what they like and what they don't like, and you kind of fuse yourselves together where you grow together and you become one kind of identity. And that takes a year to 2 years to really find that niche. But nowadays, people are not waiting a year or 2 years to find out, what it is they want. Because, again, a lot of guys, if you make it to 6 months, you already talking about marriage. A lot of people, a lot of the females, if you make it to 6 months with a female, her friends and her family and everybody else is already pushing towards getting married. Like, that's already in the conversation. Like, we're not going to get married. We're not going to be together. Y'all the perfect couple, blah, 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 blah. And you're thinking to yourself, like, we only been together 6 months. Like, we even had a first full Christmas, Thanksgiving, none of that. We haven't had any of those dates, any of the holidays, any of the stuff to kind of figure out, okay, do we go to my family crib? Like, we haven't had that who house do we go to for this particular holiday argument. We haven't had any of those things, but you already talking about marriage. You haven't even hit that first plateau, that first step as far as, like, picking family and picking this and that. You haven't had that discussion. So, again, 6 months is way too, a year is real too soon. 2 years is too soon to be talking about marriage, in all honesty. So what happens is you end up getting forced into a situation. You get forced into a marriage that you're not ready for, because you only marrying this person because you're on the high of the newness of what it is, and you haven't really made any sense out of where it is that you want to be. And that's a problem. And that's a societal problem. That's a problem with technology today, because it forces us to move a lot faster than we are naturally ready to move. And we don't take our time. We don't necessarily move at a pace, at a leisure pace, to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to take my time. I'm going to get to know this person in and out. And then after 3 or 4 years, then you can consider, like, okay, you know what? We 3 or 4 years in, I can see myself really being with this person. Her family likes me. My family likes her, and then you can kind of grow from there. But a lot of people today really jump the gun, and they're not happy because because we think that love is like something that you just put in the microwave or air fryer and it's done. And it's not. It takes time. It takes a lot of time. And not to mention with men today, I think a lot of it is men who grew up in households with women, with no man present. They take on these same characteristics. They take on these same characteristics as women as far as Russian, but they don't understand that we're not built like a woman. Our genetic makeup, our genetic code is completely different than what theirs makeup is. So we can't operate, nor should we operate the same way they do. Just like a woman should not operate the same way as a man operates. And I think that, so it kind of forces us into this very interesting conundrum where you got men rushing in with these women, but they don't understand that they still have this hunter's mentality where they still want to get other women. And they're not ready for commitment, but because they feel like that's something that they need to do to feel complete because their mother didn't have it or whatever. So they feel this need to always have somebody, when sometimes the best policy is just be by yourself and find out who you are. And I know this doesn't necessarily fit under my conspiracy, but I will get to a conspiracy side of it in a minute when I get to, like, just the emasculating of men and where it's going. Just my thoughts on that. But right now I still want to kind of focus on dating and just the different aspects of it. The one thing that I tell my nephews who are, still in their early 20s is the person you are right now at 21, 22, 23, you'll be completely different than you are at 31, 32, 33. You'll be completely different. Like, you won't even like the same things. You won't even find the same things entertaining then that you will now. You will experience a whole lot in your 20s. You will experience love. You will experience hurt. You will experience disappointment. You will experience joy. You will have all those things that will shape and mold you for when you get into your 30s. Like, and use those tools, use those disappointment, use their hurt, those times you were hurt, to learn from it and take those into the next relationship. Not the baggage, because each individual person is different, but learn from your mistakes and not make those mistakes again, and continue to learn and continue to grow. So by the time that you're 27, 28, then you can meet somebody and say, you know what, let me take this serious. So then be with her for 3-4 years. You don't have to rush to get married. Yeah, I mean, you should live with each other for a few years. See what it's like to live with somebody. See what it's like to interact with them on a day-to-day basis. See what it's like to go through the steps. Because marriage, one thing about marriage, and it's something that I did not know when I was younger, that's why I'm divorced. But something that I did not know is that marriage is a contract, number one. Before, above all else, it is a business contract. Let me say that again. It is a business contract. All right? And in most cases, the man will always take it in the shorts. He will always get the short end of the stick. When it comes to the kids, when it comes to finances, he will always take an L. Always. It's very rare that the woman takes an L. So as a man, you got to understand that if 50-60% of marriages end in divorce, you have to be extra smart, because you will end up funding somebody else's life, somebody else's, existence on this planet. You will be the one funding that, especially if you live in an alimony state or if you got child support to pay. You will end up paying that and footing that bill. And that's a strong bill to pay for 18, 20 years. You get a woman pregnant at 22, you paying till you 40, 42, 43, like you paying for that. If you make a mistake and leave her, so you have to understand, you have to really make a wise decision, an informed decision about the person that you want to be with. Because if you don't want to be with them, then you're going to make a very costly mistake, because marriage, again, is a business contract, and it's not in the favor of the man. It's just not. So when it comes to being smart, you have to be smart about your genuine feelings and understand that you want to be with this person and that you both can accept the flaws of the other person. And at 22, 23, you're not ready to accept those flaws. You only accepting the sexual gratification that person is giving you, or the laughter, or whatever that person is giving you. You're not accepting the flaws because you're young, because you don't even know what you like. You're still growing as a person, okay? Because you only been on your own for less than 2 or 3 years. So you have to live on your own and experience life on your own, by your own schedule, by your own things, and really appreciate what it's like to be alone, to be by yourself, before you can really appreciate and understand what it's like to live with someone else. I think that goes for both sides. Whereas with women, they find that where it's confusing with them is most women don't reach their sexual peak as far as sexuality until they're in their 30s and 40s, to where they really just crave it all the time. Whereas men, it's usually from like late teens to late 20s when you really reach your sexual peak, where you at your stamina is at its greatest. So you can already see the conundrum in that, because here it is that you want it all the time and she really don't, because she's not peaking. She's like, I'll do it, whatever, because it's new. But then you're going to have these periods where it's like, when you get together, where you're going to want it and she's not going to want it, because she's not on the same sexual drive cycle as you are. So you go through a period where you're not getting it, and you'll be wondering, like, why the hell am I not getting it, blah, blah, blah. So then that creates another problem. That creates another issue in the home. But those are things that I didn't know at 20 years old, but me at 40, yeah, I know what it is now. So you really have to take time and understand what it is how this game works, and the system is designed for you to fail. It's designed. And I'm gonna tell you why. And this is real. When you pay your child support, the government, these agencies, these government agencies, they get a cut. They get a percentage of everything that you pay. So every time you pay your $500, they get a 20. They get $20 from that. They get $30. They get $10. So you multiply that times 100,000 men every month, and they getting $20 from that. How much money are you paying them? You know what I'm saying? Granted, you paying for how much in fees? Because just to be on child support, they charge you $50 a year. Just to be on child support, it's $50 a year, which makes no fucking sense whatsoever. But you got to pay like $50 in state of Indiana, $50 just to give your kids money. They charge you $50 a year to take from you every year. Not to mention the fees you pay every time you pay your child support bill. So it's a business to them. It's a business, and you will always lose. Always. You always lose. And that's something I think I think as far as when it comes to dating and men in general, I think that we need to start a movement where we rebel against child support. Not necessarily paying. Not necessarily rebel against paying child support, but just the amount of stuff that's involved with it. Where society automatically give the kids to the women. Automatic. Like, you get divorced, she gets the kids. And we never fight. We never fight it. We never ask the question why. I'm going to tell you why. Hold on, let me grab a lighter. Give me 1 second. I got to grab something real quick. This is going to take a short. I wish I had some music to get an audio break. But I'm going to take a little pause for the calls real quick and grab something real quick. Grab this. Yeah, I'm back. Listen to the Conspiracy Brother. I'm about to break down some truth for y'all. Some real truth. As only I know how to kick it. Facts. Here's some facts for you. All right. We never asked the question, well, why do the women get the kids? The reason why is when this whole idea of child support, this whole idea of the women get the kids, it was a form, it was understood that a man needs to take care of his family. It was understood. A man has to take care of his family, which is true. Because women were not in the workforce. It wasn't working. Very few was doing their thing out there, so very few. So when a man decided that he wanted to leave his family, it was only fair, it was only right that if he left, he still, because she was a homemaker. She didn't have a job. She didn't have anything going on. She didn't have no means of income, no means of doing anything. She was pretty much at his mercy as far as financial stability, whatever. So it was put in place to protect the woman that if he decided that he wanted to leave, that, hey, you know what? She gave her life to you. You still got to pay to make sure that she's taken care of, which made sense because she wasn't working. She didn't have a career. That's when all this came about. I'm guessing in the 50s and 40s and 50s, whatever, right? But now let's fast forward. You got multiple incomes in the house now. Women work, men work. Now we can argue the semantics of men make more, women make more. We can argue that till we blue in the face. Well, women don't make the same wages as men. As a whole, no, they don't. But on the lower end of the scale, as far as like middle class and middle class families, women and men make damn near the same. And I would dare to say women make more than men in the middle class. Now upper class, when it comes to like living in that upper middle, when you talking about the 100 to 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 jobs, then yeah, there might be some discrepancy. But if you're talking about 100,000 and below, I think we all pretty much swimming in the same pool, men and women. Now I don't have any facts to back that up, but I'm just talking about from what I see in my daily walks of life. You know, I know a lot of teachers, men and women, they both make the same. I know a lot of people working retail, they both make the same. If you're a waiter or a waitress, waitresses make more. A lot of female waitresses make more than the men do, and tips or whatever. So I'm not even getting to that argument. But the point I'm making is this: is that theory of the woman get the kids should be thrown out of the window by now. Like that we should start moving those as why not? Who's best fit for the kids? Get the kids, not just give it to the women. Because guess what you're gonna do as a woman? You go to work, right? The kids go where? To daycare. So you go to work, kids go to daycare. You come home, you cook, you go over homework with the kids, you put them to bed, and it's pretty much that routine, right? So you mean to tell me that a man isn't capable of doing the same thing? Because you're not doing the domesticated stuff that you was doing back in the 50s. Because you're going to work just like he is. Y'all both going to work. So he's not capable of going to work, dropping his kids off at daycare, getting off work, picking his kids up, taking the kids to practice, doing all those different things. Like he's not capable of doing those same exact things that you're doing with the kids. Because if we get away from gender, if we're getting away from these gender codes or these gender rules, then that should be another rule as well that we need to look into. So why is it that he get the kids and you pay child support? You see what I'm saying? Like, well, women's no. We're doing this whole both ways. That, well, I make this rule when it appease me, and I think a lot of women, what's going to happen is the more you bark for this equality stick, which again, everybody should be equal within. To me, I think everybody should be equal within their role in the house. That's just my belief. I'm old school, but what's going to happen is women, you're going to bite off that hand so much. But one equal, you'll realize that being on the same level ain't as fun. It's not. There's a lot more that men deal with as far as like financial responsibility. Y'all have no financial responsibility. We have, especially if you leave, because not only do I got to provide a living for myself, I got to provide for a living for my kids. And I might only see him on the weekend, which is another ridiculous thing, that you might only see him on the weekend or whenever you can, and she can control that. So imagine now all of a sudden he got the kids because he makes more money than you. So now all of a sudden he makes, $80,000. Yeah, he got a job where he's making $80,000 a year. He can provide a way better life for the kids if the kids stay with him. So the kids stay with him. So then that forces you to pay child support, and you making $40,000 a year. How fair is that? But men run into that all the time, but we don't ever complain about it. I think it's time that we do. And the way that we fight back on that is when we're dating, we make the best decision. Men have to get better at making decisions about who we let bear our children. That's the one thing I think that we definitely need to do. We need to really assess that part of it, our decision making. Because if we make the wrong decision, we paying for it. They not fair or unfair. We paying for it. So that's just something. That's just food for thought, fellas. Like really think about, and ladies, think about this. When it comes to who you lie down with, whether he's good or bad, it's 100, not 50%, not 20%. It's 100% your fault if he's good or bad. And don't say, well, I didn't know he was gonna do this. No, you know. If the guy you dating got face tats and all of that kind of stuff, you choose to give him a baby, then you have to accept all the shit that come with it. I'm sorry. Nothing against face tats. Well, hell, fuck it. Yeah, I do got something against face tats because what are you doing with your life? If your kid's following all that stuff on his face and all that kind of stuff, and he gets high all the time, then that's your fault. That's 100% your fault. I don't blame nobody else but you. That's your fault. You 100% to blame for that because you chose to lay down with that person and have unprotected sex, and that's your fault, 100%. The conspiracy side of it. Ask yourself this question, and maybe they have it out there. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just a man sitting out here smoking a cigar, having these thoughts, things I think about. Haven't done a lot of research on it. I never heard of it. But ask yourself this question: why is the only birth control for men is a condom and a vasectomy? Women have so many. You got the maneuvering, you got the shot, you got the pill, you got the patch. All the responsibility as far as controlling birth is on the female side of the spectrum, which means that anytime a man trusts her or not, she can say, I'm on the pill. We take our word for it. We get her pregnant. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Why is there a birth control pill for men? Why isn't there a birth control pill that a man can take every day? Take a pill and not worry about getting nobody pregnant until he's ready to have a baby with somebody. Then he can stop taking the pill and then produce legitimate sperm and have a baby. Ask yourself why. Why is that not an actual thing? I'll tell you why. Because there would be no kids on Earth. Do you know how many men, how many athletes, how many famous people would not have kids? At all. Because we literally abuse it. We literally won't have kids at all. A lot of kids, unless you're married, the only way you have kids, there would be no stray kids running around at all. Or the birth rate would go down considerably if we was able to take a birth control pill for men. We would completely take that out of their hands. I mean, jokers would be taking that shit from 18 on and not producing babies. And that would be a problem. That would be a major problem. And they don't want that. They don't want that. They don't want men in control of that part of their body. Either you get a vasectomy when you older, or you wear a condom. Those are your only options. You give jokers a third option. Hey man, you take this birth control pill and you'll be shooting blanks. Brothers will be all over it. All over it. So they don't want that. They don't want that at all. When I speak of they, I'm talking about just the overall establishment. You know, they don't want men to have that kind of control. Let me see. I'm looking right now. There's a birth control. Holy shit! Is there a birth control pill for men? Let's see. There is a male pill is coming. It ain't here yet. But it got hella side effects. Let's see. This is back in 2006. So now the first male, side effects. What's the side effects of the male birth control pill? Let me see. Yep. That's what I was going to say. Well, I said both. It says both men and women are responsible for the pregnancy, yet the burden of preventing it often falls on one gender. Women can choose from a variety of options to control fertility for generations, which I just said. Men have been limited to withdrawal, condoms, and sterilizations, which means basically got to pull out, wear a condom, or get a vasectomy. Damn, I mean, this is like, I didn't even read this. But someday soon, a new method may allow men to shoulder a greater share of the responsibility. A new hormonal birth control shot for men effectively prevent pregnancy in the female partners, a new study found. And let me see what let me see. They safely they did the shot in 320 healthy men in monogamous relationships with the female partners conducted worldwide from 2008. Men age range from 18 to 45 underwent testing to ensure they had normal sperm count to start. The injection given 8 weeks consists of 1,000 milligrams of synthetic form of testosterone and 200 milligrams of neurostone. I can't even say that. I ain't gonna even try. Essentially, a derivative of a female hormone. Let me see what's the side effects of this shit. I'm gonna get to. I'm trying to look at the side effects. I'm trying to think. I guess it was some. Yeah, so here it is. However, due to the side effects, particularly depression and other mood disorders, the researchers decided to stop the study earlier than planned, with the final participant completed in 2012. So basically, what was it? Over 20 men dropped out early due to side effects of a total of 100 to 1,400 adverse events were reported, including injection site pain, muscle pain, increased libido, and ache and acne. 39% of those symptoms include one death by suicide. So basically, if you want to stop having babies, you gotta damn near kill yourself. You gotta get acne, you gotta kill yourself, depression. You know, that's ridiculous. Like, so that's what it means is basically for a man to get birth control, get the birth control shot. But yeah, so a lot of stuff won't make it past beta, make it past testing because the effects. And they don't want that. Because our bodies are made to reproduce. That's what we're here. We are here to reproduce and be hunters and gatherers. But as society has grown, we have changed. So, the conspiracy side of it is, what do we do? As men, as women, what do we do as far as date? What do we do? It's too late to put the genie back in the bottle. Like, that's over. That train is that technology train has run its course. Like, it is done. Like, we're not going back. We're not changing that. That shit is over with. You can forget about it. So what do we do? Well, one of your options is try to meet somebody offline. Express your intentions up front. Let them know that, hey man, I'm not thinking about marriage for 5 years. I'm not even thinking about it. It's not even crossing my mind. We're not going to even discuss it for 5 years. And stick to your guns. Because when you create a plan like that, when you put a system in place, you then lower expectations. And don't let women tell you, I'm not going to waste 5 years of my life and then you decide you don't want to marry me. Then she ain't the one for you. If that's her attitude, she ain't the one for you. Because see, this is what you need to understand. If I'm with you 5 years, and then at the end of those 5 years, I decide, like, you know what? We've been together 5 years, and I think I can be with you for the rest of my life. I don't know that. I don't know that I want to be with you the rest of my life in 2 years. Because 2 years ain't 20 years. 2 years ain't 5 years. 2 years ain't 7 years. A lot of marriages break down in the first 7 years. It breaks down. Divorce. If you look at divorces, a lot of divorces happen in the first 7 years. So imagine if you just dated her for 5 years. For 7 years, you dated her. You're like, no, we're just going to date. And then you realize at the end of them years, like, nah, man, this shit ain't going to work. You can literally walk away and you don't owe shit. And don't have kids. So it's just a breakup. But then you get married. You combine assets, all this shit early because the first 2 years y'all had the greatest time of your life, but in the next 3 years, you can't stand the motherfucker. Now you stuck because you married her. Now you go out, you cheating, doing all this other dumb shit because you ain't happy because you know what it is? All you had to do was just wait. Be the motherfucker 10 years. Because let me ask you this. If you were somebody 10 years, you married anyway. So what difference does it make? What difference if you together 10 years and y'all happy, and you like, you know what? We can go and get married now. I'm happy. And you do it. What difference does it make? Did you waste 5 years? Do you feel like you wasted 5 years of your life? No. Because you was married anyway. So you just went and signed the papers and fucking moved on with life. Everything was gravy. But if you get married for 2 years, and then the next 3 years, then you have a happy year. So now you're talking about 3 years of knowing her, 3 years of her being in your life, and then you get married after 2 years, and then by the time you get to your third year of marriage, your third year of being together, first year of being married, third year of being together, then your fourth year, you like, man, this motherfucker get on my nerves. At year 4, she get on your nerves. At year 4, she getting on your motherfucking nerves, and you can't stand it. But now you committed for life. You signed that contract. Y'all business partners. Y'all are business partners. So what are you gonna do? So now you gotta break that contract, and that shit ain't free. Breaking that contract costs money. You know what I mean? So what you gonna do? Break that contract. Now you got kids, so what you gonna do? You gonna pay for it? Well, all you have to do is be patient in the beginning. We don't have patience no more. Be patient, man. Learn that motherfucker in and out. Learn the person you're going to be with in and out. Learn what they fart smell like. Learn when they fucking drew, they breath sticking them, all that. Learn all that shit. They snoring now. All of that. Learn it all before you commit to marrying that person. Because you don't know. You don't know what you're getting into. You don't know. You have no idea. Learn that person. Stop. Don't take dating into this microwave society. Don't take it into that. Dating is chess. It ain't checkers. It's chess. It is a game that is ongoing that you're going to play forever. That game never stops. Never. So it's tough. But you gotta play the game. You gotta play it. You know what I'm saying? It never stops. Never. You know what I mean? Like it never stops. But you have to understand that when you get married, some people think, oh, I'm married now, and so because I'm married, I ain't got to play them games no more. I remember I had a buddy of mine, I would have called Josh one day, but yeah, a buddy of mine was like, he got married, and he was all happy, and he was like, man, I'm glad I ain't got to play them games no more. And I thought to myself, like, dude, the game never stops, dude. Like, it never ends. Unfortunately, you know what I mean? It's ongoing because now you got to consistently and constantly reinvent yourself over and over and over and over again. Reinvent yourself as far as like in your relationship. Reinvent yourself as far as your sexual desires. Reinvent yourself as far as what she like and what she don't like. Reinvent yourself when you out of your sexual peak and she's in hers. You got to reinvent yourself all of that stuff. You got to continue to reinvent yourself. And one day, you'll learn that that's the whole point of it. You know what I'm saying? And once you learn that, you'll be a lot better. Because you learn to play the game. The game is going to always be played. It ain't going to never stop. You know what I'm saying? So don't think for a second that, oh, well, you know, I don't play the game, I'm married. Nah, man, it never stops. It is an ongoing cycle that you will continue to be on. It's a roller coaster. But at the same time, man, if you take your time and you willing to go down that road with somebody that got your back, somebody that's going to be there for you through thick and thin, somebody going to be there for you, somebody that's going to be there for you, somebody that's going to be there for you through it all. You have to figure it out. And you can. But it takes growing. It takes knowledge. It takes being able to think for yourself. It takes being able to do for yourself. Ladies, as far as on your end, don't put yourself in a position of need. Never. I think in every relationship you should have an out. I know it's crazy to say because you're going in a relationship thinking like, man, we all go in thinking it's going to work forever, but 9 times out of 10, it don't. Well, 6 times out of 10, it won't work out. But you have to put yourself in a position of, if shit goes south, what can I do for myself? That's where you have to go. Stop letting society, stop letting the establishment, stop letting the status quo dictate how you run your life, because it don't work that way. It's a reason why we live in a monogamous society. It's a reason why bigotry is against the law. Bigamy is against the law to have multiple wives. You know why? Because can you imagine if you take a man, he married 4 women, he got 4 wives. He got 4 wives, and each one of those 4 wives got a job where she makes $15, or she makes between $10 to $15 an hour. So let's say he married 4 wives, and he got 4 wives, and each of them make $30,000 a year, and he makes around the same or whatever. He makes, say they're all making $30,000 a year, or they all making $40,000 a year. You got 5 adults making $40,000 a year in one house. They're making $100,000 a year. Nah, over that. Hold on. Yeah, it's 100,000. Let me make sure. So you got 5 adults times 40,000. They're making $200,000. I'm sorry, my math is off. They're making $200,000 a year. Can that change your life? If you can put it, so imagine that. Imagine if you can put aside your differences, and y'all all make $40,000, which ain't much comparatively, but y'all all coming together and y'all making 200. That can completely change your lifestyle by having 4 working adults in the house, 5 working adults, a man with 4 wives. One person gets sick, he can take care of everybody. The house can. Did that make sense? Or if you had 4 working adults, and one person stay at home as a caregiver in the house. She take care of the kids, she take care of home. That's her role in the house. 5 working adults, 4 working adults, and 1 stay at home. You think that is that a recipe for disaster? It makes fucking logical sense. But society tells us you got to be monogamy. Society tells us you're only allowed to have 1 wife. You can't have multiple wives. And it's not because it's wrong. It's because of financial gain. The quality of life you can live, the less control, the less restriction they have over you. Because if you have a job, if you got 5 working adults and 4 working adults in the house, One of y'all lose your job. Guess what? You ain't starving. You don't have to give as much to your job. You don't have to work as hard because guess what? You got a cushion. Because then what? I can lose my job tomorrow, and guess what? I got 4 other people in my house working. Well, I got 3 other people to pick up the slack until I get back on my feet. And if we live within our means, it just makes sense. But they don't want that. They don't want 5 adults living in one house, making money together. They don't want that. You get a 4-bedroom crib, and you can just pick a day and say, "You know what? Tonight I'll sleep with you. Tomorrow I'll sleep with you. Tomorrow I'll sleep with..." However the fuck you thread it out or whatever. But if you can get along and you make that shit happen, think about the quality of life you can live, man. Think about that shit for us. If you can just put together y'all petty differences, we all equal. You know what I'm saying? We all gonna work together. We all gonna love together. Whatever. Yeah, man. We make $200,000 a year. $200,000, and we got regular jobs, man. We ain't nothing special. We living like kings and queens. They don't want that though, man. That's because know what it is. That will make your life a lot easier when you ain't on a level. You know what I'm saying? And don't one of y'all ascend to where, you know what I'm saying, now you're making, one of y'all go up to make 80,000 a year, or y'all making 80. Now y'all bringing over close to, $500,000, $250,000, $500,000 a year. And you only on management level at your job. Can you live off that? How many of y'all quality of life would be a lot better with an extra income in your house? I mean, think about that for a second. How easy would your life be if you had a sitter in your house and you had to pay for daycare? Think about that for a second. You had one woman, her job was to take care of the crib, make sure the kids, whatever. I ain't got to pay daycare because we at the crib. We just take care of her. We give her, make sure she gets your money in her pocket, whatever. Yeah, but think about that for a second, man. How easy would that be? You ain't got to have a big, you have a nice house with 4 incomes coming in, 4 adult incomes. How much shit would you have to take at work? How much shit you have to take? See, when you got money, you have what they call fuck you money. Well, you don't give a shit about people because you know what it is? Like, man, fuck you. I don't need this job. Imagine that kind of freedom you will have. But they teach you that monogamy, they teach you to be with one person, so you got one shot of fucking up. You fuck up with that one person, your whole game is crumbled. But imagine you got 200,000, you got 5 workers, you got a man with 4 wives, working situation. One stay at home, so you got 4 people. So one of them don't want to be there more, and she leaves. So you drop that $40,000. Yeah, that's cool. She can leave, and guess what? You ain't fucking hurting at all. Your shit is still fucking flowing. 100% legit. It's smooth as butter, baby. You in there. You in there. You know what I'm saying? You winning. Or you can find somebody else come in and pick up the slack. Say, hey man, we got this thing going on. We cooking this thing. Like, what you think about like this kind of life? For you, we take care of each other, man. We got a very good situation going on. The house big enough. We all whatever. He's a good guy. He's charismatic enough to take care of all of us. Yeah, then sometimes he give you individual time you need or whatever. But a lot of times, I mean, when you dating, when you married, how often do you go out anyway? Once a month? Twice a month? So you can still give them individual time. You can still have that shit all planned out. But what happens is, man, we are trained not to think that way. We're trained to think a different kind of way, man, because know what it is, man? As long as you in that fucking hamster wheel, you ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. You ain't ascending, man, because we ain't thinking outside of the box, man. We thinking based on what they tell us to think. And anything other than the norm, man, anything other than the status quo, man, you looked at different and weird, man. But it's a reason why in other countries and other things, man, a man can have multiple wives, man. There's a reason for that shit, yo. But over here, we don't think that way. Our shit is it's one man forever. Like, that's bullshit, yo. But we fall into that. We fall into that same bullshit. We fall into it. And a lot of us lose our shit over it, man. Because we're trained that way. We need to reprogram the way we think, man, and think for ourselves like, man, there's a reason why Mexican people, they fucking flourish because they have like 4 or 5 families in one house. And they eating. You know what I'm saying? They making bread because they working together. They using their resources, man, to work together, dog. The power of many is always gonna beat the power of one. There's strength in numbers, man. But we haven't figured that out yet, man, because we are so ingrained and fucking the way we think is on a monogamous level. We all want that one. Sometimes you open your mind up just a little bit more and say, no, man, what if we had another working adult in the house? How easy would life be? How easy? If you put that jealous shit beside you, how easy would that be? Man, can we use the extra $40,000? Hell yeah. Extra $30,000? Hell yeah. I ain't gotta work 2 jobs. No, we all work 1 job, man. We all pull our own weight. And we live like fucking kings and queens up in here, yo. We all got nice cars. Got a nice house. Everything. Because we work together. So, man, so at some point, man, like, we have to think for ourselves, man. Think outside of the box. So, I just want you to think about that for a minute. This has been LGZ from Conspiracy Brother. Y'all have a great night, man. Love each other. Peace.